Yeah, all right, mate. Let's have a quick look at this. Of course, it's not an easy question to answer. The easy thing to throw out there off the bat is, it dropping around that 84% that it normally has dropped in all the other bear markets. That would bring us to about the 10K level, roughly. Um, I haven't done it in a long time, but just measuring that down just to kind of show where that 84% drop is, down there, roughly around that 10, 11K mark. Um, but that does fit with my narrative that a Pierce and a Pierce down here below this this red 200 moving average on a 2 week chart. For me, I think that's the lowest we go. I don't really see price going lower than that. The VPVR, let's just look at it again too. Like you can see again what that is. I mean, that is down there. You mentioned there, I think you mentioned 15K. Let's just look what you said again there. The volume gap, yeah, the volume gap under 15K. Yeah, we talked about that a lot. If we come back down there, um, there is a good chance we drop and kind of fill that. So I would think that Pierce is below the red 200 moving average. Now there is something to note. It's not moving very fast, but depending on how long we take to come back down there, this is slightly rising and will continue to rise. Now let's use the weekly for an example. So this, as let me go back. As I pointed out the other day, this structure here, where this red 200 could be a bottom, and the white 100 here, right? This is going to be very important. It depends how high we go here. If we can somehow blast off through this, there's still a chance to me the bottom could be in, right? There really is. But you're talking about the mad recession like we had in the past. Of course, the panic and everything else can get pretty forceful, fearful, whatever words you want to use. But what I'm talking about is you can see the white 100 here, and that we bottomed on the red 200. It's almost identical here on the weekly chart as it's happening right now on the 2 week chart. And we're consolidating right here at the white 100 on the 2 week chart. If we can blast through that like this and move up like we did here, well, I think the bottom is in, right? Of course, it's difficult right now. But we need to see if this can hold. As I mentioned before, we can still go to a 30,000 level and get rejected and still see new lows. That's still a possibility to me because of the yearly chart and because this is a neckline. This is basically a neckline, and sometimes markets like to come up into necklines before coming back down, and then we could probably maybe see that or whatever, and then move back up. It didn't draw that very well, but so yeah, I still think that I drew this green line here because it's on the edge of the volume gap. I think Pierce is below that. That's Pierce is below 12,000. We'll call it down there, depending on how long this takes. But Pierce is below this red 200 in this volume gap. But if we fall into that volume gap, we're likely going to fill that. So I haven't really changed my view. My view is that there's a possibility that we don't have a crystal ball, but there is a possibility that this has bottomed the market. But the bulls really need to prove themselves. We need to consolidate here and then break through this level and continue running. If we do that, I think that's the bulls proving that the bottom is in. If we reject here and have a poor showing, technically this is a stop hunt of the previous highs. Now that is not great. See here, stop hunt here. It's not, it's not perfect at all, but we need to consolidate and hold strong up here and push through this level. If we do that, the bulls are trying to prove themselves. So there is no confirmation yet. Now the other thing I want to talk about is the total market cap 2. I do think that there is a possibility that we reject somewhere and that we continue down into here, into this. I think this is the bottom of the market possibly. Like if the bottom is not in now and I do think many altcoins are going to go to new lows, right? I do think that many of the weaker ones, especially like the ones like FET and stuff like Moon, I don't think they see new lows. I think the big dips will be buying opportunities. I don't think we see new lows in those, but the weaker ones will go to new lows. But pardon me. Obviously, if Bitcoin and Ethereum and stuff roll over, this is going to get crushed. This is all going to drop. And like if I see this down here, if I see this market down here into this area here, you know, for me, I think that's pretty close to loading the boat area, especially if we dip below it, right? Especially if we dip below that. For me, that is a load the boat area. You know, sometimes you can read better charts than other charts, and they give you better clues. For me, this is a better clue than what Bitcoin is doing. Of course, Bitcoin is not bad. I mean, it's every single bear market in its history, it's dropped 84%. And there's big levels down there at 84% with that volume gap and different things. So that is a big level. But if Bitcoin is going down there, this will go down here as well, in my opinion. And pierces below here are low the boat areas on all coins. So that's something else to consider. This is on a 2-week chart. Now, if I zoom out here to look at the red 200 moving up here, like I've talked about this chart many times. You know, you can kind of see this is coming into we're building into a bit of an apex or whatever way that goes. So if I zoom out here to a weekly, right, and I just go back here, well, what happened here? Well, we basically had a very similar situation when you had the red 200 down here. You had the same apex developing. Like you had these moving averages converging down until they meet, and these converging across until they meet, until price came right into this point, but it flushed. But look where the bottom was. Look where the bottom was, right on a pierce below that red 200 moving average, right down in here. I just want to check something in a minute. Look at this part here. Is this similar to what we're getting right now? Is it so? If we look at the 2-week chart, is it similar to what we're getting right now? And that's what I want to look at in a minute. But see the pierce below here, below the moving average. For me, that's a very strong buy on this 2-week chart if we get it. Okay, so you can see right here what I was talking about is. So let's look at this again. Right, see this area right here. If we look at that there, I should put up 2 charts actually. But anyway, for now, I just want to look at this again on a weekly, and you can see kind of what we're seeing. We are kind of seeing almost an identical sort of pattern right here, and you can see that flush, that last final flush was hard and fast. We broke down and consolidated underneath the white 100 moving average, but we got trapped under these moving averages, and then we end up getting crushed. Okay, so let's look at the 2-week again, just for a quick scan of it. Well, you can see right here, this is a bit stronger. This is slightly different. We are not below the white 100, and we are not below all moving averages yet. But if we get a bad red 2-week candle and we start to drop below this white 100, well, price could get crushed, and price could drop very fast and very sharp down into this red 200 area for the final flush. That could happen in a panic situation. For example, the release of Ethereum or whatever, the gold, what do you call it, the Mt. Gox release and the Ethereum release, you know, the staking Ethereum release, you know, those 2 things alone could crush a market, to be honest. Well, the panic and everything else on top of the stock market, if that gets crushed. So we're definitely not out of the woods yet. And if we start rejecting, if we get a red candle, like one bad red 2-week candle here could bring us back down into extreme danger. Extreme danger would be then negating that uptrend, and we'd be closing below these moving averages, and this could flush hard and fast. Okay, so I think below this red, I should say below the purple, because it's a lower SMA moving average, but you know, down here is where I think load the boats, and I was hoping to get one more push up higher to be selling some altcoins. Will we get it or not? I'm not so sure yet, but I still do. Well, let me see. It is tricky, right? It is definitely tricky. if I go to Bitcoin here, obviously we show, like I showed this pattern before, but on a 9 week pattern, right? There's a possibility that see this bounce up and you get continuation, right? If we don't see continuation on a new 9 week candle and we see some sort of rejection, well, that's bad. That's very bad. But at this point, and I know we can't really see it very well, but you know, the continuation obviously would be there on Litecoin. If Litecoin can continue up and do this on another green candle, well, that's where I would be probably selling all of my altcoins and looking to take profits and then rebuy on the dip. That next dip, if we get low enough, would be a better dip, I think, to be holding into the bull market. Right now, there's always the possibility we roll over to new lows, and you know it's very hard to hold them and then give back all them gains. I would probably rather take profits, bulk up my account, and then rebuy lower. So like you can see here, see this move up, you move up into the moving averages right here, and then you springboard, you use the moving averages as a springboard, and I believe that this would catch a lot of people off guard. Okay, so you know, people one or 2 days and everybody else is completely bearish already. You know, I'm not bearish, I'm not really bullish, I'm waiting is what I am for the market to give us signals. But as I said, I still believe if Litecoin is going to pop up here like this, well, the rest of the market's going to pop up as well. Tether are still printing. That's a good sign. That's a good sign for the market. The market still should go higher. I don't think all coins and all are done yet. There will be a point which will probably be either a new 3-month or a new 6-month candle that we will flip red and we'll be bearish again. At that point, we probably should be out of the market, out of our longs at least. For now, I don't really believe we're at that point yet. Stock market looks bad, to be fair, but I'm a firm believer in time in the market, and I just don't think that time is right now. Like if you know, we are still green, like we are still green on these candles. It's when I'll get worried is on a new red. Like if we start look here, look at this, perfect. See, you move up and you can continue moving into the end of the 3 months or whatever. But if you start flipping red on a new month or a new quarter, then you got to be more careful. So for me, time is good. We are still green here. Yes, there's a bit of a sell-off. Nobody likes losing some money if you're holding longer positions, longer term positions. It's never nice, but you know you got to take the good days with the bad days. So I went on quite a ramble. We'll just have to play it by ear. It probably does depend how bad the recession is. Are they well, there's so many different factors. There's the war, there's the money, there's the debt issues, there's the I mean the list goes on and on. But the market loves to climb walls of worry, and I'm always open-minded, and we'll just have to continue to read the charts. For now, my hope, right, and the market doesn't care about hoping, and hoping's not great in the market, but you know I am hoping that we get continuation on a new 9-week candle in there's 11 days left. I probably should put that over here, but there's 11 days left in that, and then if I'm correct, the market can see more upside. If I'm wrong, well, we'll need to be careful. If we're not seeing that strength, we need to be careful and maybe take some precautionary profits or maybe cut some positions. But for now, I'm holding most of my positions and kind of expecting some more upside. There is lots of coins that will have put in close to a top and maybe just chop about a lot because we've had quite a substantial run. So we got to be careful and we got to keep an eye on it.